Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtakchideshatarine Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gyoda Premanande. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hey, Bo, we'd like to welcome everyone online. We have Kala Ji here. Hari Bol Prabhuji. Welcome to Sri Sri Nitai Mayapur Chandra's temple in Slovenia, Maryland, or Michigan, sorry. And we have Rasaraj Prabhu, who is the faithful, pure devotee of Ladu Gopal. And we have Bhakta Cassidy, also known as KC, here. And we're very honored to be able to be here and do our reading. And very grateful for your hospitality. The mercy of the Lord is heavy upon us here. So thank you. Hare Krishna. And I'd like to invite everyone to soak in the darshan, because you will not find another one like it anywhere near you. So, Hare Krishna. So, we're diving in. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 14. And we're on text 35 and 36.
Just come to this is only 1 to 7.
Right? 35, 36? Correct. Madham. Hare Krishna. Okay. Just waiting for Rasa Raj so he doesn't miss the invocation. So forgive us, we're probably a little loopy from so much kirtan the last couple of days. If anyone hears this and is not aware, we are in the middle, well actually at the beginning of a 24/7 kirtan festival for world peace, meaning chanting 24 hours a day for 7 days straight for world peace, with free food, prasadam, for everybody, and basically at any time of day it seems, actually, also. And so this is one of the most potent festivals I've ever experienced. It's already been a transformative experience, and we're only in the second day. And so if anybody hears, please come and join the festival at Farmington Hills ISKCON Temple. Hare Krishna. Okay, yeah, we're on 114, 35, and 36. So I'll just start with the invocation, and then basically, Prabhuji, I normally just read, and it's like a hearing meditation, but we also take discussion points, like at any time, so we do appreciate questions, comments, realizations at any time. At some point hits you, saying, oh, Prabhuji, this just happened today in my life, or whatever. So that's very much invited. It's not,
Even like appreciation, yes.
So please feel invited. And so yeah, we'll just dive in here. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om Bhagavati Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya.
Narayanam namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudhirayat Shrinvatam swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridyantasto yabhadrani vidhunoti satam Nashtaprayashvabhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavatyutama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Jai. Okay, text 35 and 36. Also, everyone's invited to chant I chant the shlokas also, and I invite everyone to chant them very loudly if they want. Mangalaya cha lokanam chimaya cha bhavaya cha aste yadukulam bodhavadyo nanta sakapuman yadbahu dandaguptayam swapuryam yadavorchitaha kridanti paramanandam mahaparushika eva. Translation. Are you in the right place?
Yeah.
The original personality of Godhead, the Enjoyer, and Balaram, the primeval Lord Ananta, are staying in the ocean of the Yadu dynasty for the welfare, protection, and general progress of the entire universe. And the members of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of the Lord, are enjoying life like the residents of the spiritual sky. Purport. As we have discussed many times, the personality of Godhead Vishnu resides within each and every universe in two capacities, namely as the Garbhodakashayi Vishnu and the Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. The Kshirodakashayi Vishnu has his own planet on the northern top of the universe, and there is a great ocean of milk where the Lord resides on the bed of the Ananta incarnation of Baladev. Thus, Maharaj Yudhisthira has compared the Yadu dynasty to the ocean of milk and Sri Balaram to the Ananta where Lord Krishna resides. He has compared the denizens of Dwarka to the liberated inhabitants of the Vaikuntha Lokas. Beyond the material sky, further than we can see with our eyes and beyond the sevenfold coverings of the universe, there is the causal ocean in which all the universes are floating like footballs. And beyond the causal ocean, there is an unlimited span of spiritual sky, generally known as the effulgence of Brahman. Within this effulgence, there are innumerable spiritual planets, and they are known as the Vaikuntha planets. Each and every Vaikuntha planet is many, many times bigger than the biggest universe within the material world. And in each of them, there are innumerable inhabitants who look exactly like Lord Vishnu. These inhabitants are known as the Mahapurushikas, or persons directly engaged in the service of the Lord. They are happy in those planets and are without any kind of misery, and they live perpetually in full youthfulness, enjoying life in full bliss and knowledge without fear of birth, death, old age, or disease, and without the influence of Kala, eternal time. Maharaj Yudhisthira has compared the inhabitants of Dwarka to the Mahapurushikas of Vaikuntha Loka because they are so happy with the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are many references to the Vaikuntha Lokas, and they are mentioned there as Madham, or the kingdom of the Lord. Yadpadashushrushana karmana satyadayo dvasta sahasrayo shitaha Nirjityashantyē tridashanstadashisho hayanti vajrayudha vallabhochitaha. Simply by administering comforts at the lotus feet of the Lord, which is the most important of all services, the queens at Dwarka, headed by Satyabhama, induced the Lord to conquer the demigods. Thus the queens enjoy things which are prerogatives of the wives of the controller of thunderbolts. Purport. Satyabhama, one of the principal queens of Lord Sri Krishna at Dwarka. After killing Narakasura, Lord Krishna visited the palace of Narakasura accompanied by Satyabhama. He went to Indraloka also with Satyabhama, and she was received by Sachi Devi, who introduced her to the mother of the demigods, Aditi. Aditi was very much pleased with Satyabhama, and she blessed her with the benediction of permanent youth, as long as Lord Krishna remained on the earth. Aditi also took her with her to show her the special prerogatives of the demigods in the heavenly planets. When Satyabhama saw the Parijat flower, she desired to have it in her palace at Dwarka. After that, she came back to Dwarka along with her husband and expressed her willingness to have the Parijat flower at her palace. Satyabhama's palace was especially bedecked with valuable jewels, and even in the hottest season of summer, the inside of the palace remained cool, as if air-conditioned. She decorated her palace with various flags, heralding the news of her great husband's presence there. Once, along with her husband, she met Draupadi, and she was anxious to be instructed by Draupadi in the ways and means of pleasing her husband. Draupadi was expert in this affair because she kept 5 husbands, the Pandavas, and all were very much pleased with her. On receipt of Draupadi's instructions, she was very much pleased and offered her good wishes to returned to Dwarka. She was the daughter of Shatrajit. After the departure of Lord Krishna, when Arjuna visited Dwarka, all the queens, including Satyabhama and Rukmini, lamented for the Lord with great feeling. At the last stage of her life, she left for the forest to undergo severe penance. Satyabhama instigated her husband to get the Parijat flower from the heavenly planets, and the Lord got it, even by force, from the demigods, as a common husband secures things to please his wife. As already explained, the Lord had very little to do with so many wives to carry out their orders like an ordinary man. But because the queens accepted the high quality of devotional service, namely administering the Lord all comforts, the Lord played the part of a faithful and complete husband. No earthly creature can expect to have things from the heavenly kingdom, especially the Parijat flowers, which are simply to be used by the demigods. But due to their becoming the Lord's faithful wives, all of them enjoyed the special prerogatives of the great wives of the denizens of heaven. In other words, since the Lord is the proprietor of everything within his creation, it is not very astonishing for the queens of Dwarka to have any rare thing from any part of the universe. What a nice purport that was. There's a little adjustment here. It's a little better.
What was your favorite? Something that stands out to you in that?
Oh,
What are you appreciating about it?
I'm just appreciating Prabhupada, just the way he's expressing it in the pastimes. It's just nice, you know. Yad bahudanda abhyudayanu yadu praviraya kuto bhoyamuhu adikramant yangribhir ahritam balat sabham sudharmam shara sattamochitam. I will say immediately, though, with the increased hearing and chanting, with the festival energy going on, and the effort, at least, we're trying to put in kirtan, in addition to chanting japa, and basically the last couple of days, that's all we've done. I'm already experiencing an effect on the quality of hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam from this. It's amazing. So powerful. Now, even if we hear and chant all day by ourselves, it's not the same as the whole sangha. Yeah, it's insane. Quality of it. Okay, translation. The great heroes of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of Lord Sri Krishna, always remain fearless in every respect, and therefore their feet trample over the Sudharma assembly house, which the best demigods deserved, but which was taken away from them. Purport. Those who are directly servitors of the Lord are protected by the Lord from all fearfulness, and they also enjoy the best of things, even if they are forcibly accumulated. The Lord is equal in behavior to all living beings, but he is partial to his pure devotees, being very affectionate toward them. The city of Dwarka was flourishing, being enriched with the best of things in the material world. The state assembly house is constructed according to the dignity of the particular state. In the heavenly planets, the state assembly house, called Sudharma, was deserving of the dignity of the best of the demigods. Such an assembly house is never meant for any state on the globe because the human being on the earth is unable to construct it, however far a particular state may be materially advanced. But during the time of Lord Krishna's presence on the earth, the members of the Yadu family forcibly brought the celestial assembly house to earth and placed it at Dwarka. They were able to use such force because they were certain of the indulgence and protection of the Supreme Lord Krishna. In other words, the Lord is provided with the best things in the universe by his pure devotees. Lord Krishna was provided with all kinds of comforts and facilities available within the universe by the members of the Yadu dynasty. And in return, such servitors of the Lord were protected and fearless. A forgetful, conditioned soul is fearful, but a liberated soul is never fearful. Just as a small child completely dependent on the mercy of his father is never fearful of anyone. Fearfulness is a sort of illusion for the living being when he is in slumber and forgetting his eternal relation with the Lord. Since the living being is never to die by his constitution, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 2:20, then what is the cause of fearfulness? A person may be fearful of a tiger in a dream, but another man who is awake by his side sees no tiger there. The tiger is a myth for both of them, namely the person dreaming and the person awake, because actually there's no tiger. But the man forgetful of his awakened life is fearful, whereas the man who has not forgotten his position is not at all fearful. Thus the members of the Yadu dynasty were fully awake in their service to the Lord, and therefore there was no tiger for them to be afraid of at any time. Even if there were a real tiger, the Lord was there to protect them. Kichitte namayam tata brashta teja vibhasi me alabda manu vagyata kimva tata chiroshitaha. My brother Arjuna, please tell me whether your health is all right. You appear to have lost your bodily luster. Is this due to others disrespecting and neglecting you because of your long stay at Dwarka? Purport. From all angles of vision, the Maharaj inquired from Arjuna about the welfare of Dwarka. But he concluded at last that as long as Lord Sri Krishna himself was there, nothing inauspicious could happen. But at the same time, Arjuna appeared to be bereft of his bodily luster, and thus the king inquired of his personal welfare and asked so many vital questions. Kachinna bhito bhavai sabdharibhir amangalai nadatam uktam artibhya ashayaya pratishrutam. Has someone addressed you with unfriendly words or threatened you? Could you not give charity to one who asked, or could you not keep your promise to someone? Purport. A kshatriya, or a rich man, is sometimes visited by persons who are in need of money. When they are asked for a donation, it is the duty of the possessor of wealth to give in charity in consideration of the person, place, and time. If a kshatriya or a rich man fails to comply with this obligation, he must be very sorry for this discrepancy. Similarly, one should not fail to keep his promise to give in charity. These discrepancies are sometimes causes of despondency, and thus failing, a person becomes subjected to criticism, which might also be the cause of Arjuna's plight. Kachitvam brahmanam balam gam vriddham rugadam striyam sharanopastram satvam natyakshi sharanapradaha. You are always the protector of the deserving living beings, such as brahmanas, children, cows, women, and the diseased. Could you not give them protection when they approached you for shelter? Purport. The Brahmanas, who are always engaged in researching knowledge for the society's welfare work, both materially and spiritually, deserve the protection of the king in all respects. Similarly, the children of the state, the cow, the diseased person, the woman, and the old man specifically require the protection of the state or a Kshatriya king. If such living beings do not get protection by the Kshatriya or the royal order, or by the state, it is certainly shameful for the Kshatriya or the state. If such things had actually happened to Arjuna, Maharaj Yudhisthira was anxious to know about these discrepancies. Kachit tvam nagamo gamyam va satkritam studiyam parajita va tapavan natamarna samaipati. Have you contacted a woman of impeachable character? Or have you not properly treated a deserving woman? Or have you been defeated on the way by someone who is inferior or equal to you? Purport. It appears from this verse that during the time of the Pandavas, free contact between man and woman was allowed in certain conditions only. The higher caste men, namely the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, could accept a woman of the Vaishya or the Shudra community, but a man from the lower caste could not contact a woman of the higher caste. Even a Kshatriya could not contact a woman of the Brahmana caste. The wife of a Brahmana is considered one of the 7 mothers, namely one's own mother, the wife of the spiritual master or teacher, the wife of a Brahmana, the wife of a king, the cow, the nurse, and the earth. Such contact between man and woman was known as Uttama and Adhama. Contact of a Brahmana with a Kshatriya woman is Uttama, but the contact of a Kshatriya with a Brahman woman is Adhama, and therefore condemned. A woman approaching a man for contact should never be refused, but at the same time, the discretion as above mentioned may also be considered. Bhima was approached by Hidimbi from a community lower than the Shudras, and Yayati refused to marry the daughter of Shukracharya because of Shukracharya's being a Brahmin. Vyasadeva, a Brahmana, was called to beget Pandu and Dhritarashtra. Satyavati belonged to a family of fishermen, but Parashar, a great Brahmin, begot in her Vyasadeva. So there are many examples of contacts with women, but in all cases the contacts were not abominable, nor were the results of such contacts bad. Contact between man and woman is natural, but that also must be carried out under regulative principles so that social consecration may not be disturbed or unwanted worthless population be increased for the unrest of the world. It is abominable for a Kshatriya to be defeated by one who is inferior in strength or equal in strength. If one is defeated at all, he should be defeated by some superior power. Arjuna was defeated by Bhishmadev, and Lord Krishna saved him from the danger. This was not an insult for Arjuna, because Bhishmadev was far superior to Arjuna in all ways, namely age, respect, and strength. But Karna was equal to Arjuna, and therefore Arjuna was in crisis when fighting with Karna. It was felt by Arjuna, and therefore Karna was killed even by crooked means. Such are the engagements of the Kshatriyas, and Maharaj Yudhisthira inquired from his brother whether anything undesirable happened on the way home from Dwarka. Let me see here. Yeah, okay. Text 43. Apisvet parya bhunktastvam sambhodjan vridhabalakan jagukshitam karma kinchit kritavanaya rakshamam. Have you not taken care of old men and boys who deserve to dine with you? Have you left them and taken your meals alone? Have you committed some unpardonable mistake which is considered to be abominable? Purport. It is the duty of a householder to feed first of all the children, the old members of the family, the brahmanas, and the invalids. Besides that, an ideal householder is required to call for any unknown hungry man to come and dine before he himself goes to take his meals.
I love that. I forgot about that. The householders are supposed to like open their door and like call out to the streets like if anybody's hungry.
You don't do that?
I've been forgetting.
I actually did it the other day. Me and Colin made khichdi. Remember? And I said, "Oh, we gotta go see if anyone's hungry."
Yay. Yay. I recall.
So good.
We went out there. Anybody hungry? Nobody's out there. The dog across the street was like, "Me, me, me." Like, nah, we can't set you free, buddy. All right, Krishna. Where were we? 44.
Meals. Yeah.
Kachit prashtatamenata.
I interrupted you in the purport.
Oh.
He's required to call.
Okay, I'll just start the purport over. Cool. It is the duty of a householder to feed first of all the children, the old members of the family, the brahmanas, and the invalids. Besides that, an ideal householder is required to call for any unknown hungry man to come and dine before he himself goes to take his meals. He is required to call for such a hungry man thrice on the road. Oh, we broke that rule, though. The neglect of this prescribed duty of a householder, especially in the matter of the old men and children, is unpardonable.
Wow.
That's heavy. That's a heavy statement.
That is super heavy.
Kachit prashtatamenata hridayena bandhuna shunyasmi rahita nityam manyase te nyatha naruk. Or is it that you are feeling empty for all time because you might have lost your most intimate friend, Lord Krishna? Oh, my brother Arjuna, I can think of no other reason for your becoming so dejected. Purport. All of the inquisitiveness of Maharaj Yudhisthira about the world's situation was already conjectured by Maharaj Yudhisthira on the basis of Lord Krishna's disappearance from the vision of the world. And this was now disclosed by him because of the acute dejection of Arjuna, which could not have been possible otherwise. So even though he was doubtful about it, he was obliged to inquire frankly from Arjuna on the basis of Sri Narada's indication. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Disappearance of Lord Krishna. Sadhu,
Yay.
sadhu. The clapping is bona fide, actually. There's a verse, there's a couple verses in Bhagavatam that we found to actually validate it. I can't remember what they are. Actually, I think one of them was when Krishna was in the wrestling ring, and he was beating. They were beating up Mustika and Janura.
Yeah, someone like that. I forgot.
And like beating Kamsa to death. And I think the crowd stood up and clapped.
Mm.
So clapping is in Vedic culture.
Yeah.
And I learned this from Vaisheshika Prabhu and the reading Vrat in Govardhan. After every chapter, we would all clap. It's funny at the beginning of the Vrat, everyone's kind of like, oh, like, like, what are we doing here? And then by the end of the Kartik, everyone's like, yeah, like, they're really feeling it. Yeah, stand up, woo, sadhu, sadhu. Anyway, and then, I was told that clapping will free you from sex desire. I believe it. So any points? This is a good time at the end of the chapter to have any discussion points. It can be about what we read, or it can be about anything in Krishna consciousness. Something that's weighing heavy on someone's heart or mind. Some ecstasy that you just have to get out.
I was just thinking about how Arjuna, when he fought the war of Virata, then he basically destroyed everyone. I mean, there were in the battle there was Bhishma Dev, Karna, and the whole army including Bhishma Dev and everyone. But he alone, like, he could fight. But now when Krishna has left the planet, of course his living is transcendental, but he has technically left the planet. He has lost all his abilities. So I was just thinking how, like, he's the pure devotee of Krishna, and all the energy which he had ultimately came from Krishna, because he was a powerful warrior. But now we can see that he's also very sad.
It's a nice point, Prabhuji. Yeah. Yeah, and also just adding to that, for a large chunk of this chapter, we were hearing about Maharaj Yudhisthira observing all these inauspicious omens. And so not even just the pure devotees, but the very earth itself, the daily things going on in the material world, everything is, the energy is coming from Krishna ultimately. And even like in the material world, we hear like the sun is, like directly of the spiritual nature.
It's like the eye of Krishna, right? Sun
Right.
is eye and moon is, they both are eyes of Krishna.
Right. Yeah, and the effulgence of the sun, like that. I actually read, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I have heard that that is actually coming. That energy is directly coming from the Lord's Brahma Jyoti.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like actually by studying the nature of the sun, we can actually learn something about spiritual energy, because like material matter is, how does Prabhupada describe it? Well, it's like dark by nature. Like it's matter by itself. It just, um, there's no life in it. It's just like inert dark matter. There's no light, and yeah, the sun is like such a special feature that we can directly perceive. Uh, the nature of effulgence, spiritual nature. It's very so powerful. Yeah, Kala Prabhuji, you have any realization on that topic that you'd like to share with us in front of Sri Sri?
Yeah, well, actually, that's what I was thinking of. Um, the effulgence of the Lord in the temples and the deities, and also the darshan of, when you're in the forest here. I could flip my around here. Maybe I
Okay,
can. Anyways, the
hold on a second. I'm making you big. Oh,
the work here. So like even in the forest, we have the effulgence of the sun, which is we were just speaking about. And so again, just having that uh, divine light flowing with, I think that the sadhana that we're doing. Um, I spoke to someone recently, and they were mentioning aura or an energy of uh, the palace area, you know, and it was obvious because they could feel somehow Krishna reflected in those things, you know. So, and yeah, whenever we take darshan of the deities or anything, that we can see something of that nature. Maybe somebody new or somebody just coming for one time, they could see that too, but there's a depth to it. Also, like you were saying, the energy of hearing Bhagavatam um, today, and I went to morning Bhagavatam class. Vanabatu uh, gave class in the morning. Nice to hear again. And it was just very, yeah, just being able to relish the nectar. So that's kind of when you can see the light.
yeah, I appreciate you bringing up that point, Prabhuji,
Mm-hmm.
because it reminds me, like when like someone says, "Can you enlighten me?" or people want enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what does that mean? Or if somebody, if you say something and maybe it's hard, if somebody doesn't understand, they may say, "Can you shed some light on that for me?"
Yes.
And, this, we have like the concept of like, well, light, like with electricity or the sun or even fire, but then also knowledge and
Mm.
consciousness. And and it's funny, Vaisheshika Prabhu talks about like the struck and unstruck sound. You ever heard him talk about this? Struck sound is like, a physical noise, and unstruck sound is like if you meet somebody and you just feel this vibration from them. Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good, but like there's actually like the subtle way of feeling the vibrations is unstruck sound. And then we also understand from the Bhagavatam that ultimately all elements, everything in the material world originate with sound and are you know essentially like resting in sound, if that makes sense. And so just tying it back to like Prabhuji mentioned, the like perceivable effulgence, like spiritual effulgence, which is very strong right now, and especially Sri uh, Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha's temple. Uh, you know, just appreciating, that experience of actually being able to directly perceive that effulgence. And then, like Prabhuji did mention, there's like different levels of it, you know. And that's also basically our entire practice is like hearing, hearing and chanting, and like like a tuning fork. Like you got one and you hit it and it's vibrating, and you have another one. The other one will pick up the vibration, and like we're like just attuning ourselves to that vibration. And you know Krishna says sarvasya chaham ridi sanivishta mata smritir dhyanam aponam cha. You see it in the heart of every living entity, and from him comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. Knowledge also referring to like light, effulgence, the spiritual effulgence. It's Krishna. It's amazing. Even somebody who knows nothing can like go and feel it, pick up on it. Not everybody, but how powerful it is. And this is also my personal, like, one of my biggest experiences in Krishna consciousness is I just brand new come and I'm experiencing something. The atmosphere has changed. This transcendental atmosphere. Just the experiential part of Krishna consciousness. Me and we were talking about that. It's just so amazing. And basically, it's the result of um, you know like the spiritual, how do I put it? That spiritual effulgence, being receptive to it, just like the nature of the sun. You directly perceive it, even with your material eyes, and well, they become transcendentalized. But even on our level, on my level, being in the material world, it's like so powerful. Anyway, Hare Krishna. I don't want to ramble. Any other points?
Jay, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Prabhuji. I really like the analogy of the tuning fork and Gyan and Bhakti. It's good. Like attuning oneself to that becomes natural. The more you practice, the more it's there. You see.
Yeah. The frequency of devotion. Because even Prabhupada said, milk touched by the lips of a serpent becomes poisonous. Like Mayavadis chant the Maha Mantra, the effect is not the same as a pure devotee. Actually find that quality in yourself, offer it to Krishna, connect with Krishna. It's amazing. There's no taste like it. Nothing like it. Yeah, and thank you, Prabhuji. Bhakta, see, you got anything else? The wheels start turning.
I'm just appreciating this part of the Bhagavatam. It's so like heavy. It's like heavy with like information that's coming in from the purports when he's like Arjuna's being inquired if he like was disrespected or if he like didn't do his duties, and then Prabhupada goes into like what the duties are like that he could that he's being asked about. I like that, and then also just the heaviness and like the emotion behind it too, where like they all kind of know that Krishna's like left his body, and they're just like asking all these other questions, like, oh, is it this? Is it that? Is it that? And then they're finally like, oh yeah, or is it that Krishna left his body? Because they're already kind of guessing.
Or is it the obvious thing that I already know?
Yeah.
That I am also not very happy to.
Yeah.
That you confirmed by your dejected disposition.
So yeah, I'm just appreciating that. It's like very juicy. It's got a lot in it right now. It's entertaining.
Better than TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Hare Krishna. Well, actually, it's actually been an hour. We usually just go for an hour. Been exactly an hour. If everyone's really hungry, we can keep reading, or we can stop here, or if there's any last points, it's up to you guys. Whatever you want to do.
I'm fine with reading.
Kalaji, how hungry are you?
Keep going. I'm on the path here.
Oh,
By a stream.
right.
So if you're not, if you have a time to take break from kirtan, rest your voice with a little recitation, I appreciate.
So I guess I'm being summoned to read more.
Yeah, at least one or two, but I'm so happy that you all are there. That's awesome.
Oh, all right. That my Guru Maharaj would do that. He'd be like, you want me, should I stop or keep going? They'd be like, oh, keep going. He's like, I'm not convinced. And they'd be like, keep going. He'd be like, oh, all right. All right, we'll just read a little bit more. Chapter 15, the Pandavas retire timely. Text 1. Suta vacha, evam Krishna sakha Krishna prataragya vikalpitaha narasankaspadam rupam Krishna vishlesha karshitaha. Suta Goswami said, Arjuna, the celebrated friend of Lord Krishna, was grief-stricken because of his strong feeling of separation from Krishna. Over and above all, Maharaj Yudhishthir's speculative inquiries. Sorry, I'm going to read it again. I kind of emphasized it incorrectly. Suta Goswami said, Arjuna, the celebrated friend of Lord Krishna, was grief-stricken because of his strong feeling of separation from Krishna, over and above all Maharaj Yudhishthir's speculative inquiries. Purport. Being too much aggrieved, Arjuna practically became choked up, and therefore it was not possible for him to reply properly to the various speculative inquiries of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Shokena Shushad Vadana Ritsaruja Hata Prabhaha Vibhum Tameva Nushmaran Nasaknot Pratibhashatum. Due to grief, Arjuna's mouth and lotus-like heart had dried up. Therefore his body lost all luster. Now, remembering the Supreme Lord, he could hardly utter a word in reply. Kristrena sangstabhya sucha paninamre janetrayo parokshena samudadha pranayotkantyakatadaha. With great difficulty he checked the tears of grief that smeared his eyes. He was very distressed because Lord Krishna was out of his sight, and he increasingly felt affection for him. Sakyam maitrim sauhridam cha saratyadeshu sangsmaran nirpamagrajam mityaha paspagadgadaya gira. Remembering Lord Krishna and his well-wishes, benefactions, intimate familial relations, and his chariot driving, Arjuna, overwhelmed and breathing very heavily, began to speak. Overwhelmingly. Good. Usually that also is referring to specific types of like ecstasies. It's interesting, the word overwhelming. Purport. The Supreme Living Being is perfect in all relations with his pure devotee. Sri Arjuna is one of the typical pure devotees of the Lord, reciprocating in the fraternal relationship. And the Lord's dealings with Arjuna are displays of friendship of the highest perfect order. He was not only a well-wisher of Arjuna, but actually a benefactor. And to make it still more perfect, the Lord tied him into a family relationship by arranging Subhadra's marriage with him. And above all, the Lord agreed to become a chariot driver of Arjuna in order to protect his friend from warfare risks. And the Lord became actually happy when he established the Pandavas to rule over the world. Arjuna remembered all these one after another, and thus he became overwhelmed with such thoughts. I'll just share, hearing that how Krishna became actually happy. The word used, yeah, actually happy. Establishing the Pandavas, reestablishing their rule. And I just thought of, like, we hear that everyone has their own little Kurukshetra going on, and how the Lord becomes actually happy when devotees give up Maya and engage in a service. Yeah. And so, what nice a service it is to help others come to devotional service. How happy that must make Krishna.
Yeah, I feel actually happy when I'm doing devotional service and when I'm around devotees. Otherwise, I'm like feeling fake happy. Feeling like it's like fleeting. It's like it's all just so like quick. I just know it's like gonna be gone in a second, and I just like the way I smile is different. It's like, oh, that's funny, but it's like I'm not actually happy. But like when I'm with devotees, talking to devotees, and then getting like ecstasy through devotional service, I'm like actually happy. My smile's like actually big, and like yeah, I just feel better.
Yeah. It reminds me of like when Lord Indra had to be a pig.
Mm.
Got cursed. Became a pig, and then when it was time for him to go back to being king of the heavens, he didn't want to go.
Wow.
He wanted to stay in his poopy pig pen with his pig wife instead of going back to heaven. And it's like, isn't it interesting how, like, in the material world, actually a living entity can be completely miserable. Tamagun, okay, Sattva gun is okay, maybe some, like, pain in the beginning, nectar in the end. Passionate is like nectar in the beginning, but poison. And then Tamagun is just suffering the whole time. And people actually, like, we, like, make it up in our mind where we like, justify or just create that we think we're being happy, and a lot of times it's like just like some made up happiness of like, well, I'm happy because at least I'm doing what I want to do right now or something, but everything they're doing is just causing them pain and suffering. Isn't that amazing? And then like we come to a certain standard of happiness or lack of happiness that we just accept that, okay, this is what happiness is. And when we come to devotional service and we actually experience like actual happiness. I'm experiencing actual happiness in this kirtan.
Yeah.
It's hitting you in like waves. It's just like, ah, man.
Yeah. I'm right where I should be.
I thought I was happy, but now this is something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is something else.
Something else. If I can interject real quick, um, there's a time that I'd heard someone was taking, basically becoming sadhu, and they said, why did you become sadhu? He said, because one sadhu is happy. Sadhu is happy. One sadhu make many people happy, and in general, it's not that the one sadhu makes many people happy; it's that he has happiness to share. And I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, Happy makes happy, right, Prabhuji?
Yes. And again, my phone is getting low, so I probably won't die yet, but I want to wish you well and everything.
I think Radhanath
Thank you.
Swami said, maybe somebody knows the quote. I think he said like ISKCON's biggest asset is happy devotees. I think that's like I want to get a direct, exact quote. I don't want to speculate. Like the best asset for preaching, something like this, is happy devotees. And I think he's referring to like devotee care and stuff. And if somebody goes to the temple and all the devotees are chanting Hare Krishna, but they're all frustrated, and who's gonna want to join that like organization? It's like, everybody's miserable here. And he says, stay blissful at all costs, right? Sure. That's actually a pretty profound statement. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for sharing, Prabhuji. This is kind of like too much nectar to quit.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I'll be here as long as my phone's still charged.
All right, maybe Krishna will give you at least one more verse.
Okay.
I'll just read at least one more. Text 5. Arjuna Vacha Pachitoham Maharaja Harina Bandhurupina Iname Paratam Teja Deva Vishmapanam Mahat. Arjuna said, O king, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who treated me exactly like an intimate friend, has left me alone. Thus my astounding power, which astonished even the demigods, is no longer with me. Prabhuji called it. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 10:41, the Lord says, anyone specifically powerful and opulent in wealth, strength, beauty, knowledge, and all that is materially desirable is to be considered but a product of an insignificant portion of the complete whole of my energy. No one, therefore, can be independently powerful in any measure without being endowed by the Lord. When the Lord descends on the earth along with his eternal, ever-liberated associates, he not only displays the divine energy possessed by himself, but also empowers his associate devotees with the required energy to execute his mission of incarnation. It is also stated in the Bhagavad Gita 4:5 that the Lord and his eternal associates descend on the earth many times. But the Lord remembers all the different roles of incarnations, whereas the associates, by his supreme will, forget them. Similarly, the Lord takes away with him all his associates when he disappears from the earth. The power and energy which are bestowed upon Arjuna are required for fulfillment of the mission of the Lord. But when his mission was fulfilled, the emergency powers were withdrawn from Arjuna because the astounding powers of Arjuna, which were astonishing even to the denizens of heaven, were no longer required. And they were not meant for going back home, back to Godhead. If endowment of powers and withdrawal of powers by the Lord are possible even for a great devotee like Arjuna, or even the demigods in heaven, then what to speak of the ordinary living beings who are but figs compared to such great souls? The lesson is, therefore, that no one should be puffed up for his powers borrowed from the Lord. For his powers borrowed from the Lord. The sane man should rather feel obliged to the Lord for such benefactions and must utilize such power for the service of the Lord. Such power can be withdrawn at any time by the Lord, but so the best use of such power and opulence is to engage them in the service of the Lord. Okay, one more. Yashikshana viyogena lokohya priya darshanaha uktena rahito yesha mritaka prochite yata. I have just lost him whose separation for a moment would render all the universes unfavorable and void, like bodies without life. Purport. Factually, for a living being, there is no one dearer than the Lord. The Lord expands himself by innumerable parts and parcels as Swangsha and Viminangsha. Paramatma is the Swangcha part of the Lord, whereas the Vibhinangsha parts are the living beings. As the living being is the important factor in the material body, without the living being, the material body has no value. Similarly, without Paramatma, the living being has no status quo. Similarly, Brahman or Paramatma has no locus standi without the Supreme Lord Krishna. This is thoroughly explained in the Bhagavad Gita. They are all interlinked with one another, or interdependent factors. Thus, in the ultimate issue, the Lord is the summum bonum, and therefore the vital principle of everything. Wow. Nice expansion of what you were pointing out, Babaji. They are all interlinked with one another, interdependent factors. Wow. Prabhupada ki jai. Well, I should stop here, but I'm not going to. Not quite yet. At least one more. Yat sangshaya druparageham upagatanam ragyam swayambara mukhe smaradurmadanam tejo hritam kalumaya bihitascha matsya saji kritena dhanusa digatacha Krishna. Only by his merciful strength was I able to vanquish all the lusty princes assembled at the palace of King Drupada for the selection of the bridegroom. With my bow and arrow I could pierce the fish target and thereby gain the hand of Draupadi. Purport. Draupadi was the most beautiful daughter of King Drupada, and when she was a young girl, almost all the princes desired her hand. But Drupada Maharaj decided to hand over his daughter to Arjuna only, and therefore contrived a peculiar way. There was a fish hanging on the inner roof of the house under the protection of a wheel. The condition was that out of the princely order, one must be able to pierce the fish's eyes through the wheel of protection, and no one would be allowed to look up at the target. On the ground there was a water pot in which the target and wheel were reflected, and one had to fix his aim towards the target by looking at the trembling water in the pot. Maharaj Drupada well knew that only Arjuna, or alternately Karna, could successfully carry out the plan, but still he wanted to hand his daughter to Arjuna. And in the assembly of the princely order, when Dristadumna, the brother of Draupadi, introduced all the princes to his grown-up sister, Karna was also present in the game. But Draupadi tactfully avoided Karna as the rival of Arjuna, and she expressed her desires through her brother Dristadumna that she was unable to accept anyone who is less than a Kshatriya. The Vaishyas and the Shudras are less important than the Kshatriyas. Karna was known as the son of a carpenter, a Shudra. So Draupadi avoided Karna by this plea. When Arjuna, in the dress of a poor Brahmin, pierced the difficult target, everyone was astonished, and all of them, especially Karna, offered a stiff fight to Arjuna. But as usual, by the grace of Lord Krishna, he was able to emerge very successful in the princely fight, and thus gain the valuable hand of Krishna. Excuse me. Hare Krishna. Or Draupadi. Arjuna was lamentingly remembering the incident in the absence of the Lord, by whose strength only he was so powerful. Hare Krishna. Yeah, we should stop there. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. We can have any discussion points if anybody has any last ones. Any last words? Excuse me. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for reading with us. Thanks for tuning in, Prabhuji. All glory to Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakopa Turubhischa. Kripa Sinubhya Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Yay!
Hare Bol Prabhuji. Thank
Haribo.
you. Thank everybody for watching. We will see you tomorrow, same time, Krishna willing. Hare Bol.